My name is Katie Prout. I'm a runner and I'm a writer, and I live in Humboldt Park. Every town and city that I've ever lived in, I've ran. I think it's a wonderful way to get to know the area and the people, and it takes me down a lot of different unexpected side streets and roads that I wouldn't necessarily have seen otherwise. So on this particular run, I left Humboldt Park, ran down to Grand, and turned down Oakley. Through this fence that was on my left, there is a path that I saw, and looking at it makes me feel like I'm not in the city anymore, like I could be in any part of some small Midwestern town. I kept running and I turned down on Lake Street, and on Lake I can see the whole sweep of the city. In the late afternoon, it's kind of surprisingly abandoned, and it gives you this feeling of heartachy. And it gives me a chance to look at the shadows and the color and the light in a way that I normally wouldn't if I was distracted by everybody else around me. When I ran onto Ashland, I stopped at the Ashland Green Line stop waiting for the light to change. You can look up and see all the pigeons roosting above, and I can see the shadows of the people coming down from work, but I can't see the people themselves. I can just hear their feet. I continued to run down Ashland towards the north side of the city, and I passed a gap between a telephone pole and the wall of an overpass. Again, it's like looking into this other world. It reminded me of this rural place that I grew up in Michigan, and it made me feel like I was seeing something kind of enchanted that was just for my eyes only. I took a side street. I headed west on Kinsey, and it was this kind of an abandoned industrial area. It feels abandoned, but really it's not. You can see signs of life in all different places, but still, in such a busy town, it's always surprising to me to find a pocket of quiet space, and sometimes it's so quiet it's almost lonely. I spot a whole bunch of weird graffiti and public art, which is one of my favorite things about running in the city, in this empty lot. But when I look up, this is the strangest thing that I see, the shape that this telephone pole and wires make. So it looked almost intentional and like art in its own right. I continued to head up north and turn onto Chicago, and I passed this shop that I've never been into but always mean to. It reminds me that I need to go get my own cowboy boots fixed up. The street art that I see in the city, the public and the private and the graffiti, it's one of my favorite things to see on my runs. It makes me fall in love with Chicago and the people who live here. I want to turn down every street corner and alley and take time to stop and see every single mural that I see, but then I know that I'll never get home. So I just try to remember some of my favorite ones that I can check back out on my next run the next day.